Good morning, Thailand. This is Voice of the Nation. We are live broadcasting every Monday to Friday from 8 to 9 a.m. I'm Vithaya Sangarun, and together with me is my co-host คุณนีรชามาลิศักดิ์สวัสดีครับคุณนีน่าครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ Good morning ค่ะคุณวิทยา So Voice of the Nations bring you updates and what's happening in Thailand and I hope our program will be your favorite morning English news program.
Right. To watch Voice of the Nation previous episodes, please visit our YouTube channel at The Nation Thailand and on Facebook page. Just search the words The Nation Thailand.
So for today, I'm very happy to tell you that we have two special live interviews with us, starting with the first Kundi, visiting research fellow from Pridi Phnom Yong International College. He will talk about 1 year coup d'etat in Myanmar, what has changed from then until now. And our second guest will be Kunthorn Thamrong Navaswat, Deputy Dean of Kasetsart University's Faculty of Fisheries. But first, let's start our day, Wednesday, 22nd of February, 2022, with the development of Myanmar 1 year coup d'etat. So yesterday is the 1st of February 2022, and yesterday marks the first anniversary of Myanmar's military coup, which has gone down in recent history as the beginning of the most repressive regime of the country. So since last year, February 1st, 2021, the situation in Myanmar has reached the worst point with an ongoing civil war between the military and the pro-democracy front. According to the Assistant Association for Political Prisoners, 1,503 junta's opponents have been killed and 11,838 people have been arrested. And on 27th of March, this day became the bloodiest day with 160 people killed in a single day. So far, 320,000 people have been displaced by the ongoing fighting. Myanmar's economy has shrunk 30% and 6.2 million people will need urgent humanitarian assistance in Myanmar for this year. And also the 25% of the kyat or the Myanmar currency has lost against the dollar since the coup, and 1 million Myanmar jobs are likely to have been lost in the past years. However, on the other hand, the military said those numbers are exaggerated. It is actually clear that the situation in Myanmar is worsened and cause worry amongst the ASEAN members so far. Cambodia Prime Minister Hun Sen is the only head of government who visited Myanmar's generals, while the United States, Britain, and Canada imposed sanctions against additional officials in Myanmar on the first anniversary of Myanmar's military coup, which is a joint action by the three nations targeted judicial officials involved in prosecutions against the deposed Aung San Suu Kyi. Washington also slapped sanctions on a directorate responsible for buying weapons for the junta from overseas, an alleged arms dealer and a company. It said that it provides financial support to the junta. In another joint statement, the foreign ministers of countries such as Australia, Britain, South Korea, the United States, Canada, as well as the European Union urged the international community to cease the flow of arms, materials, dual-use equipment, and technical assistance to the Myanmar military. And an international-backed diplomatic effort led by the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN has faltered with the junta's failure to honor its commitment to end hostilities and support dialogue. But the junta has vowed not to bow to international pressure and has been highly critical of the UN, accusing its envoy of bias and interference. Also, Myanmar's military ruler Min Aung Hlaing extended a state of emergency for another 6 months. He claimed new elections would be held once the situation was peaceful and stable without giving a date. and Myanmar's military rulers have threatened to jail anti-coup protesters who take part in a silent strike on the first anniversary of the power seizure by the general. And let's moving up for today. We have our special guest who will discuss about the Myanmar coup and what we could expect to see in the upcoming future on this topic coming up next. Welcome back to Voice of the Nation. Please welcome Kun Supalak Gajanakundi, Visiting Research Fellow of Bridi Phnom Yong International College. สวัสดีค่ะ Good morning. I can't hear you.
Unmute myself. Good morning again.
Good morning ค่ะ
To back into
Good morning ครับพี่ครับ
old home. Good morning ครับคุณยิ่งยอด
Welcome to our program ค่ะ So first of all, I would like to talk about, yes, yesterday, the 1st of February 2026 marked the 1 year of the coup d'etat in Myanmar, when the military ousted a democratically elected government. From last year until now, what has changed since then? Or what, we can see that they have seized the power, but clearly they cannot even govern the country. What are your perspectives?
Well, the coup in Myanmar is not the same things, but as we are now, many observers has a verdict that this is a failed coup, because until now, 1 year later, we still keep talking about the coup and its consequence. That's a serious thing. Usually, we are familiar with the coup in Thailand, right? So when the governments, when the military take a coup, they will install the civilian government or something look like a civilian government and deliver their many things to restore the country. But in Myanmar, it's contrary. The Tasmador, the Myanmar military, as we know, they just escalate the fighting and violence across the country. That's a really serious thing. So, from my view, I would say that the coup not only toppled and elected civilian government under Daw Aung San Suu Kyi, but also damaged the Myanmar economy, destroyed peace, shook stability, affect livelihoods of the people. So far, the military, which known as Tatmadaw, as we know, I will call it Tatmadaw from now on, has killed more than 1,500 people so far. But the actual number of the casualty might be a lot more, as incidents sometimes happen without report. So that's the question. And the military crash attack to civilians took place more than 7,600 times in many areas, particularly in the hotspot like Sky, Mac West, as well as the current state, Kaya state, that near Thai border. So number of violence in Myanmar between September and December, as we counted last year, when the Tamil launched a dry season offensive against the ethnic groups, is more than what happened in Syria and Afghanistan combat. That's really serious thing that's been. The United Nations has reported that more than 200,000 people displaced, and thousands of them, we all know that they fled to Thailand to seek a safe place, and sometimes Thai government not really kind to them. They push them back when the situation is still unsafe. That's on the livelihoods of the people. That's on stabilities of the political situation in Myanmar. So the other side is very serious. The World Bank has reported, as Kunina also report, also that the coup and combined with the COVID, together with the COVID pandemic, has posed a severe negative impact on Myanmar economy in last year. with the contraction of 18%. 18% is the worst in Southeast Asia that Myanmar has faced. The violence also affect business operation because only half of their capacity to be operate in this situation because of violence, because of protest, because of kind of things that happen. So the business cannot do the business as usual. So that's why there's a failure of the military junta or the Tatmadaw when they govern the country, but they can't govern anymore. And the violence also force the foreign investment out from countries. Many companies like Kirin of Japan, Amata of Thailand, even Telenor of Norway, and Total of France. So the problem is that when the capital flow out, Myanmar lack of liquidity, right? And there's also lack of money. We can say that, and the junta pump money in the system by printing fiat currency in that. That's cause another problems because it causes inflation, it's high inflation. So this is the problem, and many measures that try to like to block the movement of the dissidents, such as the internet shutdown, also has a backfire phenomena because it's also cut the money transactions of the banking and financial system in Myanmar. So this is situation, from my view, we can see that all the kind of thing that happened in the country that.
With this piece, with this serious impacts, do you think that the military junta can continue to hold political power and control the society?
Well, we have to compare because the dissident also is. Well, many activists, many observers, international experts that who closely look at Myanmar military affairs and security has, I think, this is a consensus among them, say that this is a unprecedented resistance in Myanmar history when the people took arms against the well-equipped Tatmadaw. And we already know that in history, ethnic minorities, ethnic groups actually took arms against the authority nearly centuries since the independence of the country. So that is a big challenge also. But when we compare, we look at the Tatmadaw, they have 300 up to 400,000 troops, very well equipped with now it's going on. It's airstrike, maybe power air force. Might not compare to Thailand, but it's powerful enough because they target civilian. So in this sense, of course, many people may argue that they have people defense force, they have the arms organizations of the minorities along the border that have experience in fighting, but their strategy is in question. We don't know how they fight. We don't know how they can recruit the fighters. We don't know where the supply of equipment will come from. So from my view, I think the junta might be lost control in some areas, but they're still in charge and they still have power and they still can operate in many areas, such as in former capital Yangon, and the central and the south of the country is still relatively peaceful. But in area like northeast, maybe that's a violence breaks out and the Tatmadaw will lose control. But if I answer this question quickly, I would just say that, well, the Tatmadaw is still in charge, but the impact might be serious and they are in search and destroy mode. So the people might be took that serious impact from that, and bloodshed will be going on. That's a problem.
So, well, as yesterday it marks 1 year anniversary, but so far we haven't seen or we haven't heard about any violence in Myanmar of the first year of anniversary marking. Do you think that it is a sign that something is going on or they are preparing something?
Oh no, yesterday peaceful because the dissident and protester they call silence protest.
Mm.
Because it's like this, the juntas call all their supporters to come out to celebrate the 1 year anniversary of the coup, and the dissident pay back by calling that people just keep saying staying at home, don't come
Mm.
out. So
Mm.
the station is quiet. Anyway, there's some minor incidents in Kengtung yesterday, as we heard some reports saying that General Min Aung Hlai visit somebody in Kengtung and people come out to protest him. There are some incidents happen and somebody is injured. There's no confirmed report about that. But anyway, this happened. It's not a pitfall and it's just like a tactic for the protest. Sometimes when they see the Tatmadaw recruits their supporters, so the dissidents and the protesters that remain silent and have used another tactic for their own safety one way, and for another is they know they cannot compare with the Tatmadaw in that sense. So it's not so smart to just like attack the Tatmadaw.
I see. So, for what you see, the role of Thailand so far, what do you think about the role of Thailand so far in this situation?
Well, Thailand did nothing. Actually, it's really disappointing for the countries which always is a front runner
Mm-hmm.
of this situation in this region. We also have initiative,
Mm-hmm.
many policy, foreign policy toward Myanmar in the past. For example,
Mm-hmm.
if I give you some name, maybe you're familiar with, Kun Ying Yot, constructive engagement,
Mm-hmm.
flexible engagement,
Mm-hmm.
enhancing engagement. That
Mm-hmm.
initiated by Bangkok.
Mm-hmm.
But since that, since the coup, since last year, I didn't see any initiative from
Mm-hmm.
Thailand, Thai government, the
Mm-hmm.
current government. People may keep saying that because we are so close and the two
Mm-hmm.
governments has shared the same roots because they are military government, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they took power by coup, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
why they are remain silent or try to say that they use backdoor policy, they try to use quiet diplomacy, try to contact and try to deliver humanitarian assistance, but it's not enough for me because we have seen that the situation is very serious. Daw Aung San Suu Kyi was persecuted with unfair treatment in the what we call we cannot say the judicial justice system in Myanmar will not work properly. So that's why we say it. And Thailand remain silent. So one proposal has come up in recent months that we propose Thailand to
Mm-hmm.
play an active role to provide humanitarian assistance to Myanmar, particularly person who across the border to Thailand, they're running from violence there. So, but still, we don't have anything happen in along the border. We just say sometimes they provide what we call temporary shelters before pushing them back to Myanmar when the situation is reportedly unsafe enough.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
May I ask you about the agenda of the ASEAN retreat on the 16th to 17th of February this month, which is soon? I would like to ask the agenda of this ASEAN retreat meeting. Would there be any discussion or would there come with the solutions for this matter, long ongoing matter?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course they will, because it is their obligation to discuss the situation in Myanmar, and because as we remember, ASEAN has some measure. We take some measure. We have what we call 5-point consensus that adopt since April last year, a few months after the coup, and until now, we don't see any implementation of that 5-point consensus. and the chair of ASEAN this year is Cambodia. Prime Minister Hun Sen just visit Naypyidaw in Jan, but this is unproductive visit because we just visit and see Min Aung Hlaing and never touch any other root cause of the problems. Never demand to see Aung San Suu Kyi, never demand anything from the Tatmadaw, just visit. And in fact, as we know behind the scene that he invited Min Aung Hlaing to attend the ASEAN summit, and he invites the what we call the Hun Aung Lavin, who actually the foreign minister of the military government now to join the meeting that will come up. Actually, this military meeting has postponed since January, right? Because many members disappointed with the Hun Sen visit. So that's why they insist that if you invite Myanmar representative, political representatives to the leadership, they would not comfortable for them to join that meeting. So that's why they postponed until February. So now, Prime Minister Hun Sen has to consult with Indonesia and Malaysia and try to set a new stand toward Myanmar and insist that unless there's progress in the implementation of the 5-point consensus, Min Aung Hlaing will never attend the summit, and non-political representative only be invited to the ASEAN meeting or any kind. So there's no problem. As far as I know, they are preparing to do something. For example, dispatching the special envoys. Now is a Cambodian foreign minister to visit Myanmar again in the capacity of the special envoy. But we don't know in what condition and in what criteria that will make that visit and for what purpose and to see anything, because it's made clear within the 5-point consensus that if the special envoy visit Myanmar, he need to see all stakeholders. There's so many stakeholders in this problems in Myanmar, right?
I see. The violence of human rights is a topic that everyone is watching. Though the ASEAN has tried to solve this problem and even has a special envoy monitoring the situation, there is still no solution we can tell now. So that does mean finally Myanmar will be considered a failed state. What do you think about this one?
Well, it's likely because ASEAN just say, well, stop violence and commence the negotiation or even talk, consultation, what kind of things, and try to employ these diplomatic ways rather than using any other kind like a tough measure, sanction as the Western country has done. That's a problem of ASEAN because we don't have that kind of sanction measure. We have no measure that could pressure Myanmar authority to stop violence. So the violence, human rights violations still going on. There is nobody to turn it off, but it's still on and on all the time. It happen every day. That one problem. Another problem is that there's no unity among ASEAN members as well. For example, when things happen next door from Thailand, Thailand is one last state. We did not think when the violation of human rights happened. We even said nothing about that.
We even said nothing.
No, our government didn't say anything that critically the
I see.
Tatmadaw.
Well, according to Kundon Paramat, he just wrote a personal letter to all his ASEAN colleagues appealing for ASEAN unity and centrality, saying that Thailand has been concerned about the discord amongst the ASEAN members, which negatively impact the grouping's image and international profile. And yes, so in terms of that, are you saying that Thailand should do more in order to help
Thailand
Myanmar?
should do more because we used to be very active in regional affairs. Thailand also as a frontliner always. We never just sit still on the situation. I think I talked many times, including yesterday session at my office, PD Padomyong College at Thammasat. So we propose Thailand to open safe zone, or what we call sometimes in technical term like humanitarian corridor. We expect that Thailand will, foreign ministry in particular, to invite all concerned parties that can provide humanitarian assistance to Myanmar, because things happen, because situation is going on, violence is going on, and every country say that we are willing to provide the assistance to Myanmar, not only but also for the COVID. But the violence going on, so we cannot deliver such assistance. And Thailand are in a good position because we are sitting next door, right? So we have to open thing and urge, pressure, or whatsoever that we can do the Tamador to stop violence first. Because the violence comes from the Tamador. We don't just, but Tamador just blame the other dissident or just say, or minority groups and ethnic groups that the other side is created, because they said they already announced a unilateral ceasefire until the end of this year. But actually, we don't know. The airstrike is not the cease of the violation, right? The airstrike is the operation, military operation, even the two civilians. So Thailand has to be active and doing that with ASEAN. Thailand should, from my point of view, help Cambodia. Because we are very close to Cambodia also, right? Because Cambodia is a share country. So now Thailand should propose itself like a friend of the ship to deliver the thing that necessary. A necessary thing to do that is the need for Thailand to do the things now. No, don't waste the time writing any other letter that's useless actually.
Well, does that mean that we should stand we should stand firm with the with what is right to do, or with the, what I should say, democracy?
Well, I perhaps don't need even to say about the democracy. Humanitarian is strong enough for the country like Thailand. Also, I know many people in Thailand don't like the word democracy or human rights. That's fine. we don't mind. But just give the need and necessity for our human friends. That's enough. That's a good thing for Thailand. Because Thailand has a good reputation on this, right? We welcome thousands of refugees from Indonesia, even Myanmar. Since 1988, we still have 100,000 of them. And also, we absorb millions of workers from Myanmar in Thailand. So that's why just think we can do.
So my last question is, what's next for Myanmar for this year? What should be on the watch for Myanmar for this year, 2022?
No, I still press my hope in ASEAN and becoming retreat should map out a clear plan and, or whatever you call, roadmap or action plan or what's the thing. Because now we allow many people to interpret the high for consensus without any clear direction. So Minang Lai can interpret for their own, Onsen interpret another way, Indonesia interpret another way, Bangkok interpret another way. So ASEAN should collectively sitting together and discuss the action plan, what to do next. What's the point to send our special envoy to Myanmar without any condition? What you want to see? What you want to see in Myanmar, and what the cooperation from the junta? And if they don't cooperate, we have any sanction? Well, think about this. I think this is the next step that ASEAN can, and Thailand also have to help the chair of ASEAN to map out the thing that we should do. Because we cannot just steal and okay, wow, come out to help the other. No, it's not happening that way. So we have to be more active and call on everybody. Come to Bangkok and talk about Myanmar. Or to Phnom Penh, that's fine. I don't mind wherever you can go, Jakarta or Singapore or Manila. But sitting and map up a real action plan that we can take any action, 1, 2, 3, what we want to do. That's the next step that we will save Myanmar in this.
Right.
Okay,ค่ะ. So I think we covered that pretty much. Well, thank you for joining our program for today. And for next time, for the ASEAN retreat on the 16th and 17th of February. If you have time, I would like to invite you back on my program again.
Yeah, I'm glad to be joined back to our home. Actually, nation is also my roots, so that's why it's very glad to see two of you that produce a very useful, insightful program that for the voice of the nation, for the face of the nation as well. Thank you very much for
ขอบคุณ
having
ค
me.
รับขอบคุณครับ
Thank
ที่
you
ส
very
ละ
much.
Well, let's look at what is going on with the oil leak in Rayong from our report. It seems like the situation is improving. Geoinformatics and Space Technology Development Agency, or GISTDA, reported that satellite images on Tuesday's morning showed no oil slicks on the sea in Rayong's เกาะเขาแหลมย่าหมู่เกาะเสม็ด National Park area. The Sentinel-1 satellite images were studied during the meeting of the Emergency Operations Center to tackle up to 60 tons of oil that gushed into the sea when an underwater pipeline owned by Star Petroleum Refining leaked late on January 25th in Rayong's Maptaput Industrial Estate. However, it is necessary to conduct an on-site survey as thin oil slicks may still remain on the sea surface. Meanwhile, the Department of Marine and Coastal Resources reported on Monday that the oil leak has not affected the marine ecosystem in the area yet. According to the department, so far, no oil slicks have been reported on the beaches or coral reef in เกาะเสม็ด อ่าวพร้าว Bay. The quality of seawater was normal, with no smell of oil, and marine life was unaffected. The quality of seawater at สุชาดา แสงจันทร์ แม่รำพึง บ้านเพ and สวนสน beaches is normal and no sea creatures have washed up. The department will check on the possible impact the oil slick may have had on rare marine creatures. The result of analysis of the presence of petroleum hydrocarbons and sediments in seawater will be reported later. In a related development, the Marine Department is suing Star Petroleum Refining for violating Article 119 of the 1913 Navigation in Thai Waters Act by allowing the oil spill to happen. The department was evaluating the impact on the oil slick on residents and ecosystem before taking rehabilitation steps and will also open channels for victims to sue the firm. The Rayong Marine Office has suspended the use of Star Petroleum Refining single point mooring system until maintenance has been completed. Navigators have been told to be careful while sailing near the system. Up to 200 small businesses affected by the oil leak filed complaints against Star Petroleum Refining at the Damrong Tham Center in Rayong's Mueang District. Most of the businesses that filed complaints on Tuesday were restaurants, bungalows, resorts, as well as people who supply beach beds and rubber rings at the beach. The center will set up a unit at Sabai Sabai Resort near Mae Rampung Beach. Expect more complaints. So coming up, please stay with us. Our guest is ready to talk about the oil spill issue in detail. สักครู่ครับ
Welcome back to Voice of the Nations in our interview program today. Please welcomeคุณทร ธำรงนาวาสวัสดิ์ Deputy Dean of เกษตรศาสตร์ University's Faculty of Fisheries ค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
Sawadika. First of all, welcome to our program and thank you for
สวัสดีครั
coming
บ
and join our program นะคะ
ยินดีครับ happy to
Together
do
with
that
you, my co-host is คุณยอดค่ะ
yes
ครับผม
ค่ะ อาจารย์คะ I would like to ask about the situation in Rayong right now. It seems kind of control or under control, to be honest.
every oil spill is quite the same happen in Gulf of Mexico or everywhere in the world. The first thing is the impact will very seriously in the first 48 hours, and then after that for a week the impact decreased dramatically, but they're still there because what we use to protect our environment, and I would say to get rid of the oil slick, we use disturbance, put some chemical into the oil slick. When you put some chemical into the oil slick, what happens is the oil will come to the smaller molecule and come down into the water body. So it's easier for bacteria or other thing to digest all the oil and get rid of it. But it will not happen in 48 hours or 2 or 3 days. It will take 10 days or more than that before it can all the oil disappear. So at the moment, the small particle of oil is in the water. So using the satellite, you cannot see the oil slick because it's past that time already. It's come to the time the small oil underwater. No matter satellite that you use, you can detect that. And the oil in the water, there are two states. The first, if they are still in the water, they will be digested by the bacteria and disappear. The second thing is, if they hit the beach or whatever, the shoreline, coral reef or whatever, they will attach to that. And that what is we call the impact to the marine ecosystem. The first 3 days, in 3 days after oil leak, you can see a lot of black oil slick on the Melampung beach, as you show the audience about the black slick along the shore, along the beach. That is part of the oil that come in. So we have to do a lot to clean up the oil slick on the beach, as you see in the photo right now. But there are still some in water. At the moment, there's still some. And what happened after that is we will not have something like this, right? In a lot of oil come to the shore anymore because most of them spread around. But we will have something like a small oil drop or something we call tar ball. Tar ball is if the oil, like a film in the water, come together with a small sand particle, it will start to build a small ball. The black one is a tar ball, as you know. We call it tar ball. And you will might see the tar ball along the beach of Melampung and the surrounding area, depend on what the oil underwater grow.
ครับอาจารย์ครับ I wonder about the way we clean up, like we seeing the pictures now. How many ways or how many steps for cleaning up the oil spoil or over the beach?
We have to clean in the sea. As you see, we have a lot of boat come in. The majority of cleaning the oil, if it happen in the sea, the first thing is you have to protect it, not let it attack the shore. Because when it attack the shore, especially the beach, there are a lot of sandy beach, something like that, it will harder to clean it. We try to do in the sea, but unfortunately, some of them come to the shore and you can see something like this. You can get absorbance or something like that to absorb the oil slick. But some oil will go down into the sand 5 centimeter, 10, or even half a meter or more than that. It depends on time. If the oil go down into the sand, it will hardly digest by the bacteria. So it will stay there and for a long time before it's all gone. So it might take 3 months, 6 months, or a year or more than that for everything to become normal. So when we do what we do is we will try to calculate, try to analyze how many we call it TPH, total petroleum hydrocarbon. In the beach of Thailand or every beach in around the world, there's some hydrocarbon, TPH. So we have to calculate it first to check how much of it. And when the oil come, we recheck again. We will get the before and after information. And if you would like to ask me what is impact, we have to wait for that. Wait for the after. After is at the moment, we not call it after. It's happening. It's still happening. So after might take another 2 weeks or whatever. And then we will get before, after, and we know the impact. And we'll check time to time to see when everything will be come back to normal. That it might take months or even 2 or 3 years.
I would like to ask, this is not the first time that we have this kind of incident. We have this kind of incident like a few years ago in 2013. And now, my question is, are there any lessons learned in that? Or are there any protections or preventions in this from year 2013 to now? Has anything been changed in terms of how are we dealing with it from 2013 to now?
Oh, there are some change. At first, we have to separate 3 operations. First is to protect the reef. Never happen. Second is if they have a leak, have an oil slick, how we can get rid of it. Third is how to analyze the impact, both for the natural resources and also the human activity. So 3 of these. The first one to protect. They try to utilize some procedure, some system to control. But I have to say it frankly, it still happen again. So if you would like to do something about this oil leak, lesson learned or whatever, you have to go back to the first, how to prevent the accident. We have to very serious try to do something to check and prevent this this picture not to happen again in Rayong and other places in Thailand. Second is how to get rid oil. After that incident in 2013, many company joined together and have buy one ship the oil to try to buy a boom for the oil slick boom, have a ship, everything upgrade. But as I told you, when it happened, it's very hard to stop, to get rid of it in the sea. But anyway, we have more ship, we have more technique, we have a satellite image that we don't have in 2013. So we have improved a lot to get rid of the oil, but it's still not enough. As you see, this is it's still not enough. The third thing, the last thing is to analyze the impact, to determine the impact that happened. This time really changed. In 2013, which I also involved, we don't have time to check the environment, check the beach, coral or whatever before the oil come in. At that time, the oil already come in, so we cannot have a before information, and it's very hard to calculate the impact. But this time, we do Kasetsat University with join together with the Department of Marine and Coastal Resource, check everything before. We have the information before on the Man Lampung beach that how many bivalve, how many hoi siap, how many crab or whatever. We have the information. We can tell you that Hạt Man Lampung is very dominant with hoi siap and also bivalve and also the small crab, ghost crab or whatever. So we have the information like that. So now we think that we can calculate the impact using the before and after information that we very lack in the first incident in 2013. So we learn a lot. But if you ask me that it's enough, I can say that it's not enough. Especially the first one that try to prevent, you have to do a lot more for prevent.
I see. So according to the news, sorry, Kunita, the seafood from Rayong is still safe to consume.
Nobody can tell it's safe or not. When you check, you have we have to check first in the water. As you told the audience that we check is okay. It's a water move. You see, it move from here to there to there to there. The real impact is under sand, sea floor, whatever. If the oil come down there, then might leak back small but widespread. So safe or not safe is depend on the government and the provincial government to declare this is a safe now to swim or whatever. I cannot tell you that it's safe or not. But as far as I concerned, there's still Man Lampung still be the area prohibit swimming or activity. You have to follow the provincial government to announce that.
Okay.
Ajahn, so my last question would be, would there be any adopting or practical plan to further tackle this problem in the future to prevent it in terms of infrastructure, or is it time already that we, Thailand, to concentrate on moving forward towards the green energy?
First, you have to understand that this oil is not for car.
Of course.
If you the oil, everybody asks me, everybody oil for the car is go to Lam Chabang. At Mapaput is the raw material for petrochemical industry.
I mean, I understand that, but I mean,
you understand that. So if
I do understand
that, you can see that if we go toward every car in Thailand is EV, we still have to import oil for petrochemical, for plastic, for whatever. So oil at Mapaput will stay on and on, no matter what car that you use. The first thing. Second thing is, we have to do a lot if we know that. We would Thailand announce to everybody in the world in COP26 or whatever that we will be a green industry, or the strategy, national policy talking about sustainable development and green, and all the world also go toward that. But if we allow this incident happen and happen again and happen again, no matter what that you talk, to speak, announce or whatever in any symposium or conference, it's nothing, because in the real world it's happening. And oil accident is one of the most serious thing that can happen in the sea, and everybody in the world now is really love to the sea. So if you would like to do some to get the investment of the international fund or whatever, you have to clean yourself, you have to protect your environment, you have to take care of your sea. And something that happened right now in Rayong is go in the wrong direction. You have to invest more in the environmental protection system and try to invest a lot more, because when it happened, you can go back to solve that. And no matter advertisement or whatever you speak, is nothing if it happened in the real world. And as far as I concerned, this news about the oil accident in Rayong go around the world. So it will be very hard to declare whatever you talk, but whatever people talk, that clean, whatever, no more impact. But when you show, even the nation
Right.
show the
It's
the
evidence
video,
there.
everybody see the black. So no matter everybody talk, what happened, eye is most important than
Right.
word. Yeah, right.
Right.
So we have to do more. We have to invest a
Mhm.
lot more to
Mm.
make us clean as we talk.
โอเค
Right.
ค่ะ โอเคค่ะ Well,
ครับ
thank you very much ค่ะ for today for clarifying in a lot of matters, a lot of factors for the impacts and for what Thailand should be doing more
Right.
in investing to preventing this type of incidents.
Mhm.
And for today, we would like to thank you, Ajahn Thorn, for joining our programs. นะคะ and thank you very much for the inside information
ขอบคุณครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
ขอบคุณมากครับ Now the whole world is seeing the oil spill on our beaches. So the next one, the world is seeing how we collect tourism tax. Now, for tourists all over the world, we have to say welcome to Thailand again, but with additional conditions. Because Thailand relaunched its Taste and Go scheme on Tuesday, opening its door to travelers from all countries instead of just 63 as it had done earlier. Under the new Taste and Go scheme, travelers are required to book and pay for accommodation and RT-PCR tests on their first and fifth days in Thailand. Previously, travelers arriving under Taste and Go were only required to spend one night in a hotel and pay for one RT-PCR test. This change in Taste and Go regulations will be beneficial for hotels because they will be selling 2 nights instead of just one. More than 2,000 hotels in 38 provinces with the CHAR Extra Plus or CHAR Plus Plus stamp are expected to benefit from the scheme. Those hotels are linked to hospitals that will conduct RT-PCR tests on visitors arriving under the Taste and Go scheme. Foreign travelers are also required to have insurance with a coverage of no less than 50,000 US dollars. If the insurance does not cover the cost of isolation after the traveler is infected or at high risk of infection, then the traveler must cover the cost of isolation themselves. The government expects between 200,000 and 300,000 travelers to take advantage of the Test and Go scheme in this month alone. The government expects 5 million foreign visitors this year. The numbers may reach 9 million if Chinese and Indian tourists return. Another new issue for Thailand is tourism tax. คุณนีน่าครับ
updates on the tourism tax or what we call ค่าเหยียบแผ่นดิน ค่าเหยียบแผ่นดิน or the landing fees นะคะ so even though it's new in Thailand and Thailand received a lot of criticisms on this charge, it's actually not news in other countries, you know. There are more than like 40 countries that have this, so today we're going to have a look on this. So according to this, Thailand plans to charge every visitor a 300 baht landing fee from April 1st this year. And the revenue will be collected will be used for tourism's development, including disabled-friendly tourist attractions. So the fee will also be used to provide tourists with a medical cover of 500,000 baht or 1 million baht in case of death. And the plan has sparked widespread criticism among both Thais and foreigners when it was revealed last month by Tourism and Sport Minister Pipat Ratchakit Prakan. And he defended the move by explaining that other countries also collected landing fees. So let's have a look at what are the other 40 countries and more that collecting a landing fee. But first, before I go through this, คุณวิทยาคะ I would like you to think about or guess what is the country that has the highest tourism fees in the world.
Okay, I think must be already developed countries in Europe or something.
No, actually, it's somewhere around here.
Okay, let's see.
Not too far from the regions, and the cost it's more than 1,000 baht.
Wow, very steep.
Let me go through this with you. So Japan first. Let's go with Japan. Japan has the collecting called Sayonara tax. Sayonara. So in January 2019, Japan has the Sayonara tax, charging every visitor 1,000 yen or around 290 baht, and the fee is included in air or sea tickets booked by all foreign visitors. Followed by Malaysia, impose a tax of $2.45 or around 81 baht per night. Per night. So that's not 10 days, 800 baht.
Acceptable.
Okay. It is. So go for New Zealand, collects a one-off fee of the same name, charging each foreign visitor 795 baht or around $24. Indonesia's islands of Bali demands a departure tax, local development tax of $10 or around 332 baht from the tourists. And for France, we have the tax de séjour. So it's around 189 baht per day, which is not cheap. And the fees differ from city to city. While Germany collects a culture tax and bed tax, average about $6 or 189 baht, also per person per day, or 5% of hotel fees. In Spain, tourist tax is about 94 baht per day as well, but not exceeding 7 days in total. In Switzerland, this one, first when I see it, I was like, oh wow, it's cheap, but it's not. So we have around $3, 94 baht per person per day, with fees varying according to accommodation type. So let's maybe, if we have Airbnb, we probably be charged more than that. And in the US, imposes an occupancy tax of around 17% of your hotel fee, but this can vary from state to state. And coming up, the last one, the highest tourism fees in the world goes to Bhutan.
Where? Wow.
Bhutan. Can you guess how much? I was like, it's between 600 to 250 US dollars or around 6,000 to 8,000 baht per person per day.
Per day. Should I visit Bhutan?
That's a lot of people going to Bhutan.
Per
Maybe.
day, 6,000 to 8,300 baht per person per day. Okay.
Yes, and this is by far the most expensive landing fee in the world. So back to Thailand. The Thai Tourism and Sport Ministry estimated that Thailand could boost revenue from the new landing tax by 1.5 billion baht in 2022. So this year, basically.
That should be making up during the time that we have vacancy during COVID, 1.5 billion. Maybe they can make it up there.
Yeah, I was wondering that because we can't really travel. So yeah, collecting ค่าเหยียบแผ่นดิน would be a good idea. Well, if it goes generating well. So I agree with that. So that's it for today. And that's wrap up for today for our Voice of the Nation's morning news update. And before we go, we would like to leave you with a clip from Vietnam News, bringing you the festive Tết atmosphere of Vietnam Lunar New Year, or in Thai, they would say Trut Viet. Okay, Trut Viet, yes. So for today, I hope you enjoy our live program. Stay tuned with us with the latest news and information from Thailand's premier English language news source, connecting Thailand to the world every Monday to Friday, 8 to 9 a.m.
Live streaming to our website, nationthailand.com, Facebook, and other social media platforms. Don't forget to click like and share. I'm Vithya Sangarun.
and I am Nina Nirasha Malisak สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
Năm nay thì nói chung là mặt hàng ở đây thì vẫn cứ sầm uất như mọi năm, nhưng mà người thì cũng chưa kiểu là đến ngày Tết thì nó cũng chưa được đông lắm.
Phố này là phố chợ hoa cổ truyền rồi. Đấy, thì mình thêm một ít những mặt hàng Tết, mình ít mai đỏ này, ít cây hoa để bày bàn chậu mini thôi, chứ mình không bán những cây to để phục vụ cho dân văn phòng.
Công tác ở đây lâu năm rồi thì mọi năm là cái giai đoạn này là ở đây rất là nhộn nhịp và vui vẻ. Thì năm nay cũng do dịch bệnh cho nên là chợ hoa thì có vắng hơn một chút, cảm giác là hơi buồn hơn một chút.
Just walking around, taking pictures, coming to see all of the Tet festivities.
Yeah, all the decorations, the vibe of Tet especially.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Không khí ở đây rất là vui và rất là nhộn nhịp. Em cũng rất là háo hức đợi tới những dịp như những lễ hội Tết như thế này. Sau đợt dịch khó khăn vừa rồi thì khi mà thành phố có thể tổ chức những cái hoạt động vui chơi như thế này cho người dân á, thì cũng là điều may mắn, có nghĩa là thành phố cũng đang tình hình dịch ở đây cũng đang từ từ ổn định và người dân cũng có được vui chơi giải trí lại sau một khoảng thời gian ở nhà.
One year I was in Hoi An, one year I was in Malaysia, and then last year I was in Hanoi, and this year we're going to be in Ha Giang.
Yeah, for me last year I was in Nha Trang, and the first year that I was here I was in Hanoi.